we'll go ahead and do this. Alright. Hi, welcome, everybody. My name is Dream Cipher. I'm doing this video while I'm streaming, and we're going to try to explain. Uh, we're going to be trying to explain bounties and crimes within Red Dead Redemption 2. And these are some details that can be beneficial while you're playing the game, especially if you know you're playing and your morality depends on it. If you're playing a more moral character as opposed to just a straight up outlaw slash thug, these things can also help you keep your bounties a little bit more under control. So if you're trying to make money through crime and doing those types of things, this should help. But if you're watching this, just please keep in mind that it's kind of a spur of the moment idea while I was streaming to kind of do this video. So I'm not going to be able to do multiple takes or any of that other stuff. So just kind of bear with me a little bit, and I'll try to make this as coherent as possible and hopefully be able to demonstrate this in game. Okay, so first off, in Red Dead Redemption, the crime, basically the crime and bounty system, they're a little bit more complex than they are in other Rockstar games. It's not just simple, you break the law, you're wanted, like in GTA. There's a system in place. Basically, the way it works is when you commit a crime, the very first thing that happens, like we'll try to demonstrate this. The first thing that happens is one, you'll commit the crime, and then two, I'm trying to catch up to him. Two, there'll be an investigation phase, or a witness phase, if there are witnesses. Oh shit, how did I lose health? This is going well. Fuck, okay, hold on. Damn it, this is not going as planned. I didn't realize I'd lost health. I thought I ate before starting this. But there'll be an investigation phase if you're caught. So basically, first off, you'll just kind of commit your crime, whatever it might be, murder, animal cruelty, kidnapping. Once it's committed, like we just did, and we got a witness coming up here. Actually, too, this might not be good. The witnesses will investigate. They'll be white at first. If when they're in white, you have the option to persuade them and deter their motives, such as talk your way out of it, or diffuse the situation. See, it's white right now, so they're investigating. They don't know what's going on. They don't know it's you. So we'll come out of hiding, and we'll.
Use your head. I am ready to get this over with.
And this is not going very well.
Do we get each other? Do you feel like dying today?
Yeah, this is not going to go well.
What hell? Fool! Enough with you! You're gonna eat shit!
Yeah. He didn't go red, he just went aggro.
You want a problem? Don't even think about it.
But he's still white.
You don't want to see this. Believe me.
If it works, the icon, the eyeball icon on your
Get
mini
out of
map
here.
will disappear.
You don't want to get mixed up
Till
in
it
this.
disappears.
This ain't your concern.
Okay.
I
We'll
know as much as you do.
try to defuse. Still not working.
I was wondering the same thing myself. Don't get involved in this.
Okay. It's not working. He's kind of glitching out.
You better keep it closed. This would be more trouble than it's worth.
Alright, this isn't working.
Hey then.
So,
No.
you can always kill the witnesses. That does tend to help. Until more. And the more, dead bodies you got, the harder it is going to be to manage witnesses. So just kind of keep that in mind too. You can hide the bodies. That is a tip. Just also know that hiding the body is a crime in of itself. So you can get caught doing that, and then you'll have another witness, and you'll be kind of far away from your horse. In the swampy area is a little bit easier because there's a lot of stuff to hide them at including feeding them to the alligators. So here we go with another witness. Now if it goes red, they're going to report
Jesus,
it.
what the hell is this? Hold your horses. You do this? This? I don't know. I just came here myself.
Okay, see the icon disappeared. He's not going to rat us out. He just went back on his way. That's one way of handling it. It is a little bit more random. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And it doesn't stop another witness from doing the exact same thing. So you could be in a never-ending cycle of this.
You responsible for this?
I don't know either. We should ask around.
Okay, that worked too. Alright, so that's basically that's the witness portion and trying to manage witnesses. When they go red, they're going to, you don't just get a bounty right away. They've got to run to usually the nearest town or the nearest location and report the crime. So you still have that amount of time to stop him. Just usually when they're in the red, the only way to really stop those guys are to shoot them. Now also please note that persuading witnesses is another crime. And this has happened to me a couple times. That I might be in the middle of persuading one when there'll be a whole nother crime. The only difference is you're caught red-handed. And if you're caught red-handed, it will immediately be a red icon. And so you can only stop them from reporting the crime and not like intimidating the witness. You can't really do that. The option will still pop up as an action that you can take. It's just a lot harder to do that with a red witness icon as opposed to a white witness icon. I hope that makes sense. And let me pause it real quick so I can try to catch up with the info. So basically the way it works is that the witness, at first they'll investigate, and if they're white, they're they don't know what's going on. So usually they'll get off their horses and go to the actual scene of the crime itself to look. Once they go red, they're going to hightail it to the nearest mall and report the crime. Now, there's going to be a couple of variables when doing the, the reporting part. One variable is whether or not they know your identity. Uh, Now, you can use your bandana or mask to hide your identity when committing a crime, and we'll get to that in a minute. Um, but for now, that does matter because if they report the crime and they don't know your identity, then the law enforcement people will come back to the scene of the crime and investigate as well. Uh, so this next variable will determine if they come back and investigate the crime to find out your identity, or if they're going to know who you are and actually just come straight to you, the character, which is a huge detail to kind of overlook, especially if you're plotting or playing an escape attempt, because one method will give you a little bit more time to escape, as the other method they're going to be gunning straight for you and give you less time to escape. Also, it will determine where the initial red circle uh, will be. The If they don't know who did it, the red circle will be at the scene of the crime. Whereas if they do know who did it, the red circle will be around you. And as long as they have eyesight around you, that red circle will keep following you. So making an escape attempt can be a lot more difficult if the red circle is around you as you're running away. So please kind of keep that in mind as well. And a lot of these intricate details are easy to miss while you're playing the game because you're caught up in the excitement and trying to manage what's going on, whether you're uh, trying to escape and get away scot-free or whatever it is. Sometimes you just get absorbed into the game and the action of the game. Um, Now, a couple of things, like I was saying before, matter, and that is how you commit the crime if you use the bandana to hide your identity. Now, you'll bandana, what I'm going to call bandana management, is a little tricky as well because, at least this is my experience, pulling the bandana down too soon uh, can make them automatically know that it's you, thus the red circle appearing around you as your character almost immediately. But then not point out a way, such as if you get another witness, they're not going to talk to you with a bandana on your face. So you might have to pull that down in order to intimidate the witnesses. So that's a little tricky. You're going to have to play with that because I don't have a right answer. For any of that, it's kind of more trial and error. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. Um, In most situations, you're probably not going to be trying to, manage a ton of witnesses. You're just going to be trying to escape. So, uh, my advice is if you're doing it with a bandana, just escape the area. Don't worry about witness management unless it's like a single witness and they're in the white witness phase. If they're in the red witness phase, escape. The thing with the bandana, it matters more than anything when you take off the bandana, and that is while you're escaping outside of an area. We'll get more into this. And if you pull it down in the right area, your wanted goes down quicker and makes it easier to escape. So, like I said, with the bandana, I know that the game kind of gives you a tip to always kind of use it when doing a crime, but it is a little bit more trial and error in my experience. Sometimes it works really well, and other times not so much. And trying to figure out the best time to unequip the bandana is just kind of wait it out until you're trying to escape wanted level, as opposed to intimidating witnesses and all that other crap. Okay, so that's the first part of witnesses and managing witnesses. Now there's actually quite a few different crimes in the game, and even if you do hide the bodies, oftentimes the NPCs in the game will still investigate and get off their horse, and they'll walk quite a ways. I mean, I've seen them walk quite a ways to find the body. So just kind of keep that in mind, that sometimes even the best planned crimes can still kind of go awry really quick. Now, before we move on to the next part, just kind of real quick, there, it's not really, there is a distance cap in the game. So like as if you're just getting away with a crime and no crime has been reported, and you start to run away, you can. There is a certain point where you can run away where the witnesses will stop appearing, or they might appear, but you can still keep going further, and eventually, that will just die out. The witness won't go red, won't report the crime or any of that other stuff, and essentially you just kind of get away with it. Um, but so sometimes if they're small little crimes such as little robberies, just doing it and not even worrying about that the witnesses and getting far away can be beneficial unless that witness just pops up immediately. But if you have the chance, there isn't any coming up the road, or if you're robbing a stagecoach or any of that stuff, sometimes just putting enough distance can resolve that without getting a bounty or nothing. So kind of keep that in mind as well, and we'll get back to a little bit of the gameplay. So the next part is, okay, so the witness management, if they go red, they report the crime. Here's another tricky area. Like I was saying, everything depends on if they know it was you. Whether you're playing as Arthur or John, it doesn't matter, because if they know it's you, they'll come straight for you. If they don't know it's you, they'll go. The law enforcement will investigate the scene of the crime first. So if you're still at the scene, kind of be careful. I would probably just getting out of there. But so once they investigate, they're going at a certain point. Once the law officers get to the scene of the crime, then they will find out your identity. So at some point they will. And there's a huge difference, and I'll try to show as best as I can in the game, that there's a difference between investigating. You'll see it pop up up in this corner right up here, investigating, or you'll see investigating and then the name of the character, such as John. So if it says investigating John, then they know it's you. They have the identity. You're going to get a bounty at that point. If it says investigating, there's still the chance you can get away without a bounty. And that's extremely important if you're trying to make money doing the crimes. So we'll try to demonstrate that as best as possible. You can already see that I do have a bounty. So we'll shoot him. And there should be, hopefully this video isn't too long. It's just hard because I'm trying to replicate everything in the game, and like I said, there's quite a few times when the game adds a few random factors in it, You know, sometimes a road is more popular than you want it to be or than you think it should be. And other times, like, it's not. Like right now, this road should be a little bit more popular. Okay. I'm gonna get kicked in the face. Yeah, he's moving up right. It doesn't say calm. That's a whole nother story. Yeah. The horse, if it doesn't say calm, it shouldn't need to be calm. But that doesn't always play out. I swear I get kicked more times than not. Okay, we don't got anybody coming this way. It's a little weird. This road is pretty popular. Oh, here we do. Here we go. The X is faded though. We'll see if they investigate. Yeah. He might. No, he's not. He's just walking right on past. Alright, so we're gonna have to try this again. Alright, we'll quit the bandana. Okay, see, the witness there is red, so they know the crime and they're reporting it. And they're going to head to the nearest office or voice. So you have an option to try to stop them while it's in the red. Or you could try to get as far away as possible, and then the witness meter will drain.
Excuse me there. This really worth it?
Yeah, he's not gonna stop.
How about I send some lead your way?
Never mind. Usually they don't stop. Alright, so we took care of the witness. But that's the difference between the white and the red witness. The red witness will run
Okay.
and vote for it. And like I said, you can get away from the area, or you can try to stop him if you want, or you can just, you know, let him report. Usually running away, they'll still get the crime is reported, but like I said, so far none of the crimes I've done have added to a bounty yet. So I've been able to manage all of that. Let's see. I actually don't even know where the fuck I'm at. Let me pull up the map real quick. And again, I'm doing this while streaming, so I don't get to do multiple takes here. So this is basically just going to be equipped as a highlight and posted to YouTube. Kind of close. So this road should be a little bit more popular than it is right now. Let's get a little closer to Valentine. For the next part, I'm hopefully going to try to demonstrate the difference between just investigating and investigating a particular character, hopefully, if everything goes well. Because that part matters, because like I said, if they know your identity, you will get a bounty. Even if you escape, even if you get far enough away. Um,
What possible reason somebody needed to hide their face?
oh, you got drug ways.
Easy now. Let's go, girl.
Okay, here's somebody. Okay, so they're investigating. We're just gonna let them. I'm gonna try my best not to interfere. Oh. I lucked out. They're like, it wasn't worth my time or effort. He's like, yep, not getting off my wagon. Like I said, sometimes this can be trial and error. Okay, there we go. Now it's in the red. I'm gonna let him do his thing. So the crime was committed right over there. So we'll go up a little ways. This video might be a little bit longer than I wanted it to be.
Blow it.
One other tip, always be prepared. Because, like I said, there are some random variables sometimes. And you kind of have to be prepared for those. Let me train that. And snake oil. Oh, he's taking his sweet ass time, ain't he? If I had chased him, he would have gone a lot quicker. Okay, just give me a minute. Like I said, folks, I can only do one take. Okay. See, now you see the red circle appear by the crime, and I'm still outside of it. So it says wanted, crime reported. So the law officers are going to go to the scene of the crime right over there. And of course, now my wanted level will start to go down because I'm outside of the thing. Now if I unequip my mask, it will go down faster. Just a little bit faster. And I can essentially get away with it without getting a bounty. I shouldn't get a bounty. Hopefully. It'll depend if I can escape. Okay, there we go. No bounty. Had they got to the crime and been able to investigate, it's really only a 2 seconds for them to get off the horse and find out my identity. Bam. Then I would have. That's a huge difference, but at least I was able to pull off and be able to do that according to plan. Alright, so the next part is if they know your identity, you'll immediately get a bounty and they will be tracking you and not the crime. And if you pull a crime off without a bandana or you get caught red-handed, they're going to immediately know that it was you, and instead they're just going to come after you. That's going to be a huge difference from like I said, when you're plotting an escape and all that other stuff. Especially when they're like crimes that you aren't making any serious money in the game, like simple robberies and stagecoach, because murder usually gets you, depending on the town, roughly $15-20 a pop. So for each person you kill, it adds another $20 to your bounty. So two people is $40. I mean, the highest bounty I've gotten is 3 grand, and I haven't been able to top it yet. Hopefully I will, but that's a whole nother story. So I really don't. The downside is for what we're about to do next. I'm going to have to up my bounty. I've already got a $20 bounty. I just barely started playing as John, so I don't have a lot of money. As Arthur, I had quite a bit. I could easily pay off the couple grand bounties that I could rack up. So I'm not going to be able to rack up, a hefty bounty for this next part. So, but before I start that, a couple of things to also keep in mind is bounties you can take care of by going to any post office. You can even go to the same town. You just gotta avoid law officers, and then pay the bounty. Sometimes it is easier to go to another area and pay it. Um, and the higher it is, there's like if it gets over $1,000, the city will oftentimes have guard placements everywhere. So if you walk back into the city, you have to do it stealth like. Also, the higher it is, the higher the chance that a random stranger will also recognize you, and poof, they'll immediately notify you. Like I've had that happen too, as I was trying to pay a bounty at one of the post offices. So just kind of keep that in mind. Also, like if you play any Rockstar game, a lot of times you just try to let it. You just have one of those days. You just want to see how high you can get something, but oftentimes after the initial rush, it can be kind of a pain in the ass to take care of. All right, so um, I've gone over the witnesses and the difference. So the next part is, like I said, they should know that it was me who did it. So either I get caught red-handed, or they investigate the crime area and find out my identity. Um, and that will result in an immediate bounty, and the law officers will give chase. And when that happens, they'll, as long as they have a line of sight to you, the circle will follow. So you have to break a line of sight from the law officers in order to escape. Now, if you start shooting them, yes, you do break the line of sight, so to speak, but your bounty goes up real quick. And so kind of keep that in mind, that if you don't want to be forking over a lot of money, then, try not to shoot them and escaping, as best as you can, on horse or on foot or whatever means you're doing. Um, to do that. Now, when you have an active bounty, many shops will close. You aren't going to be able to do pretty much anything um, within that general area. And in this game, they do give quite a good lengthy chase for bounties. Now, this is another detail that I've personally have noticed. Maybe it's just me, but the higher it is, or the more crimes committed, the initial wave of officers usually isn't too bad. They're easily managed. But as the crime speed goes up, you'll notice that the officers will gradually get harder and harder, where they might take more than one headshot to kill, and it can get to a point where I've had a small army come after me. it's, like the higher it gets. So also kind of keep that in mind, that if you're trying to escape, the more you do that, more will come, and each wave gets harder and harder than the previous wave. Now, the law is different than bounty hunters. Bounty hunters are an entirely different subject, and hopefully I'll be able to cover that as well. I'm trying to make this not too long, so um, and um, yeah, I can already hear the YouTube comments in my head. uh, YouTube commenters, they do not like lengthy videos. I'll just put it that much out there. But um, now, planning a crime and all that can go a long ways. Can help you keep all that stuff down. Utilizing stealth, uh, covering your tracks, and knowing the difference between investigating and like the white versus red icons, as well as who they're technically investigating, can save you a lot of trouble, because you might actually be in the clear if you don't know the difference, and you could easily escape without a bounty. But if you don't know the difference, you can easily screw it up by shooting somebody, and bam, your identity is blown, and then poof, you got a bounty immediately because you did it red-handed. That's a huge difference. So this could save you quite a bit of money in the long run, and a lot of screw ups. That's really the big thing. Um, now, and also being able to come out on top money wise is a huge thing, because it's a Rockstar game. We all know they're able to stingy with money. Alright, so the next part, I'm going to have to do this red-handed, because I do want to show the difference.
You wanna die,
In your grave already!
No.
Damn it!
Yeah, see, there immediately is, yeah, okay. He became a witness. Alright, we'll let him tell whoever. Now, I wasn't using my bandana. See, now I have crime is reported.
Okay, Missy.
No, I think that they're going to still... Yeah, they're going to investigate the area. So I can still get away. By just going outside the area. But I don't want to do that. I want them to be able to catch me. So the crime... Okay, they're gonna be coming. And if they... I don't want to leave the area, but I also don't want to make it easy. So you can tell the law enforcement will have a light. Okay, see, investigating John Marsden. So now they know it's me. They have the white light in front of them that shows that they don't know where I'm at. The moment that disappears, they'll hightail it for me. They're going to find me here in a minute. But that's mainly what I wanted to show, is the difference between just general investigating and the identity. So it doesn't matter if I escape now or not, I will get a bounty. At this point, it's going to be how much of a bounty I'm going to get for this spree. And if I got out of the red circle, that would be it. It would be like a $15, $20 bounty. So we'll just leave the area. But if they know where I'm at, the only real difference is they will follow me, and I mean everybody should know that by now. The circle will follow me. You have to escape that, so I shouldn't have to show that. in this video to kind of keep this a little bit within a good time frame. So yeah, that was only 15. So all in all, not bad. I had a $20 bounty before, so alright, so and then basically once you get a bounty, you can pay it off or you can live with it. And then you'll see this like red circle, reddish area. Some of these things can kind of get confusing. Right now, it's still considered an active area, and you know, don't be surprised if you roll into town and you see them all officers kind of looking for you still. Even if you've escaped the bounty, that could still happen, especially high bounties. Like you can go pay it off at the post office. You can live with it if you want. But that pretty much summarizes that the main difference is waiting for them to see if they're just investigating, you can get away without a bounty. If they know who you are, or they're able to pinpoint who you are, so they have to report it, the law officers have to come back, look at it, and bam, they'll know who you are. Then you get a bounty. In between that period, you can get away without a bounty. That's kind of the main reason why I wanted to do this video, is knowing that difference, like I mentioned earlier, can save you a little bit of money, and knowing when to engage and essentially fight back, as opposed to you know, if you start to fight back and you could have easily gotten away without a bounty, you're going to for sure get a bounty at that point. And yeah, you know, that won't be good. I mean, unless you're trying to do something like that. So and the last part I'll cover is the bounty hunters. So if you don't pay it off, the game, no matter if you die, don't die, save and load, you're going to carry a bounty until you do pay it off. So if you don't pay it off, bounty hunters are different. They're just basically people that are like you, that are going around and trying to make extra money, to bring you to justice. Actually, there's a couple more I wanted to do. I don't need to show the video, I don't think. But if there are low enough crimes, you can, I don't know. You can also escape the bounty by surrendering. Might not be able to do this. Let me see if I can. You can't surrender to the bounty hunters. You can only surrender to a law officer, and you can't have a huge bounty, and you gotta be unarmed. Let me see if I can do this. I don't want to make any guarantees here. Let me. I mean, because I haven't shot any of them yet. I also don't want my horse to die.
Hold up there, citizen. Yep,
Okay,
I
so
thought I knew you.
we can surrender to get rid of the bounty. And during the surrendering phase, you can reach for your weapon and shoot them, or
You knew
you
it was
can
gonna
let them
end this way.
do this. And if you do this, your bounty is gone. You've spent a couple days in jail, but then you don't have to pay the $20, $30 in order to um, do that. But you can't have shot any of the law officers. The moment you do that, from then on out, you can't surrender. Um, and it's got to be a somewhat low bounty. So now we don't have a bounty anymore. Although, technically speaking, we don't, but we still forked over the $36. So I'm guessing that they just take the money without you actually going to the station. It's hard to tell, but that is another way of getting rid of your bounty. So before I start wrapping up the video, if the last thing, and I'm not going to do cause another bounty just to prove this, but the last bit is if you do have a bounty, you don't pay it off, then periodically you'll get bounty hunters. Whenever bounty hunters show up on your mini map, there'll be a little red clouded area, and people will refuse to sell to you. Those are going to be your two biggest indicators that you have bounty hunters coming after you. More times than not, oftentimes they do track you when you set up camp and you tear down camp. Almost every time I've had that happen, they're right there. Now, depending on the size of the bounty, depends on the size of their group. Bounty hunters will usually show up for small bounties, two to four people, and if they do show up, you can avoid them, outrun them, go away for the area, wait out the cloud. The cloud will disappear, and you can resume back to your normal activities. But it will continuously happen in random situations, including within missions, and I've had that happen as well. So kind of just be prepared for that. You know, the higher the bounty it is, you can also get bigger groups, because I've had like 10, 15 of them with bloodhounds, and the bloodhounds will track your scent, and eventually the bloodhounds will catch, if you stay in the area, will catch wind of you, and they will catch up. Bloodhounds can cause you to get off your horse, or cause the horse to kick you off or knock you off, and then they'll try to tear at you to keep you stunned as they shoot you. The last thing is, the other way to escape bounty hunters is just to shoot them all. Go into Deadeye. If there's only 4 of them, bam, 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 poof, they're gone. It's not going to make your bounty go up any higher unless you're doing it in front of people. If you're doing it out in the middle of nowhere, it's, they're not law officers, so it's not going to immediately increase, and you're not going to get another wanted level for taking out the bounty hunters. So kind of keep that in mind, that in theory you can get away with killing them, but just keep in mind that the more you do that, the next time they show up, there's going to be a higher chance they'll show up with bloodhounds. Bloodhounds, not, they just make it a little harder, especially if you're not favoring shooting dogs in the game. But if you do shoot the dogs, that is still considered animal cruelty, so just kind of keep that in mind. All in all, you can keep playing like that and never have to pay for your bounty, as long as you don't mind every once in a while getting interjected with bounty hunters. And the higher the bounty goes up, they can get pretty hard. At first they're not as accurate, but on high bounties they're pretty dead accurate. Like, they can hone in at you, like, trying to get into Blackwater as Arthur hone in at you. And then, that's a whole nother subject. Basically, as far as I can tell, you have kind of a marker at around $200 to $300 bounties, then above $500 bounties, and then above $1,000 bounties. Kind of those different areas, kind of up, uh, you know, different levels of bounty hunters with various different skills. They could be highly accurate, show up with bloodhounds, whether they're on foot or on horseback, or if they're both in a small cavalry coming in after you. A lot of that really depends on the size of your bounty. Um, Other than that, like I said, you can play through the game with it and just continue to shoot at them. Or if they start to become too annoying, because like I said, they will pop up every time you go to set up camp, which makes sense. Smoke, uh, you know, and campfires. But they can also show up in the middle of missions. Like, first time I encountered bounty hunters was at the O'Driscoll mission where you find Kieran, and they showed up like as I was exiting the cabin. They had the law and the bounty, which caused the mission to kind of go really awry really quick. And I don't know if that was just a glitch at that point or what, but I I I don't think that they've shown up in other missions, so I'm just saying that it is a possibility. Always be prepared. If it was just a glitch and they don't ever show up in any other mission, then good, great for you. But um, other than that, that's pretty much it. And this is probably going to be a fairly lengthy video, but that's kind of I've tried to detail as much as the system as possible. The hard part was trying to replicate it in game and keep it manageable. You can intimidate witnesses. You can talk them out of turning you in. But the big part is understanding the investigating part, because there's a huge chunk of that you can still get away without a bounty, and which means that you'll come out on top money wise uh, for pretty much anything that you do, even the smallest crime. Um, and then another thing is when to turn yourself in to try to avoid paying a bounty, and not. And so hopefully that you find this somewhat educating. And again, a lot of it's trial and error. Planning goes a long way in this game, especially when doing crimes. But sometimes you just don't want to do it. And the last little bit that I'll leave you with is when you are planning different crimes, because there are a number of crimes that you can commit, like robberies and general stores, and maybe I'll do extra videos on those specifically. Uh, just keep in mind that you can't really choose your weapon in a store, so almost in every situation, unless it's a story-based mission, is going to go down bad. As fun as they are to rob, generally speaking, you're not going to come out on top. I think maybe $35, sometimes $40, sometimes $50 in the register. But there are. I think I'll do another video another night for doing the individual robberies. I think that I could do that. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. This is basically the basics of the complex crime mechanics in the game. 9-day cycles do matter. Every NPC kind of has a life that they live. During night, many of them go to bed. Makes it a lot easier to get away with that type of stuff. And hiding bodies they can help, but just keep in mind that when you hide a body, that means that the longer that you're there, and if anybody decides to randomly show up, you are there carrying a dead body. Therefore, they're probably going to know that your identity, instead of getting white, you'll get a red. Uh, so just kind of keep that in mind that sometimes it may not be worth the extra effort to hide the bodies because you could still get away without a bounty. So you just kind of have to play it by ear. Practice, trial and error can kind of go a long way. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed. And sorry it's so long. It's just sometimes it's I was doing this during a stream, which you can check out my Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv Dream Cipher. So be sure to follow my Twitch, and then yeah, we'll leave it at that. Hopefully you've enjoyed, and stop in, say hi sometime. All right, peace.